How to build enormous wealth. Now, if that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. Because Jeremiah 29:11 says this, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you future and hope." Now that's powerful. And I know I can't take one verse out of the Bible out of context and make it look like a get-rich-quick thing, because that is not what I do. And if you've watched or listened to me for a while, you know I'm nothing about get-rich-quick. It's slow, steady growth. And that's what makes people extremely wealthy. Now, how to build enormous wealth is not a get-rich-quick talk. It's not about chasing money or living flashy. And it's not about financial hype or speculation. But it is about building wealth that lasts. And not just lasts for you, but future generations. It is about discipline, consistency, and time. It is about building stability, security, and freedom. And here's the good news. Anyone can do it. But few are willing to do what it takes to do it. Because it sounds simple. And it is simple. But it's not easy. Wealth doesn't happen by accident. It's built on purpose, over time, with discipline. That wealth is the result of habits, not luck. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss exceptional entrepreneurialism, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. How to build enormous wealth. Point number 1. Discipline creates wealth. Some people will say, if I have health, I have wealth. You're right. I'm not giving much of a definition of wealth. I have my own definition. But you have your definition. So apply it to everything I'm going to talk about today, and we'll both be great. How's that? Is that fair? Okay, good. So, order savings with efficiency equates to wealth, because it always starts with discipline. Always. Now, here's my definition of discipline. Doing what needs to be done long after the motivation is gone. Long after the motivation wears off. Because results don't care how you feel. All right. So wealth always starts with discipline. Here's a couple examples. Living well below your means. Spending less than you make. Spending intentionally, which means putting your money to work because it has a purpose. Saving consistently. You've heard things like, if you read The Richest Man in Babylon, pay yourself first. In my world, I pay God first, I pay myself second, and then I put the rest to work. Eliminate waste. The older I get, the more I want to eliminate waste, and that means time and everything else. If I'm in my office and I can do this, and this at the same time, I'm going to do it. In other words, if I can listen to this, write this new podcast, and also be doing something over here, I'm going to do it, because if I have to stop and do each one separately, I'm wasting time anymore. And if you're 30 years old, you have a lot more time than I do. And I look over my past, I'm 62 years old. If I look over my past life, yeah, I got a lot accomplished. Yeah, I did this, and this. But I think I wasted a lot of time. I could have been more efficient with my time, because time is something that we don't get back. None of us. And we all have the same amount in a day, 24 hours. All right. Also, wealth always starts with discipline, having order in your finances. And also know chaos kills wealth. A chaotic lifestyle kills wealth. Chaotic disorder kills wealth. You've got to have systems in place. You've got to have things in order to produce wealth. Discipline compounds over time. The more disciplined you get, the more it becomes a habit, and the more it compounds over time. And small decisions repeated daily create massive outcomes. Small decisions repeated daily creates massive outcomes. And know this, you don't build wealth by making more money. You build wealth by managing what you already have. Because remember, it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. And people who earn a lot but stay broke are not managing what they make well, and definitely not managing what they spend well, because they're spending more than they make. They make a lot of money. I don't know, define a lot of money. I don't know. I know people that make $95,000 to $150,000 a year. They're always broke. They're always in debt. They never have anything. Life sucks. People who earn modestly but build wealth through discipline is what it takes to build massive wealth. I know people who were bus drivers and put 6 kids through college. I know people that held standard jobs and raised several kids and did all this stuff. They're debt-free, and they have a happy, peaceful, joyful life. Then they also, by the way, they pay God first, themselves second, and then everything else falls in place. Discipline today creates freedom tomorrow. Now, we'll go on to point 2. Point 2 is values anchor wealth. Faith, stewardship, and character. Those are 3 strong values. Money without values doesn't last. That means faith grounding decisions. When I make decisions, they're faith grounded. I pray about them personally. I get good counsel from people who believe like me and are smarter than me. I get good, and I'll be honest with you, and my wife is smarter than me, but my wife and many wives that aren't in the business or aren't in your business, meaning they're not always, tell me what you're doing, show me what you're doing, all those types of things. They're home raising children. They're home taking care of the house, which is much more. Don't get me wrong here. Naomi took care of our house, the children, all the stuff she did. Much as an importance in the marriage and the family as me. But she has an intuition about things that she would say. And a lot of times as men, we don't necessarily listen right away. We're like, yeah. And then we're like, oh, crap, that makes a lot of sense. We have to be open to advice. We have to be open to suggestions or counsel. You see, stewardship over ownership also is the key. We talked about stewardship in a podcast or two ago. And integrity in business. You've got to have integrity. Doing it right when no one's looking. Because that's who you are. That's what kind of person you are. You're solid. You're grounded. Long-term thinking instead of short-term gain. I've talked about that many times in my podcast. And know this, wealth is a tool, not a god, with a little g. Wealth is a tool, not a god. Money magnifies character. It shows you who you are. Talked about John D. Rockefeller a lot. John D. Rockefeller felt that handling his money was a calling from God and he would be accountable for it. I feel the same way. Without values, wealth will destroy families. I'm going to talk about this more as we go. But wealth without the values, wealth destroys families. That's why a lot of times second generation does okay. The money's burnt up by the third generation. I'm going to talk about why here in a minute. If you don't tell your money what to do, it will tell you who you are. Because money needs a job. Money wants to work for you. You have to put it to work, or it'll tell you who you are. And then as I tie this to my faith, God blesses stewardship. And trust builds stability. And greed destroys legacy. You see, Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance." And I say the abundance will last when it's anchored to something much bigger than money. Jesus spoke more about money in his parables than any other subject because he knew it was a main theme in our life. He knew it was a tool for us to use, and it demonstrated our stewardship ability. Remember the parables about the talents. 3 men were given talents, in different measure, in different amounts. The third one went out and buried his talent. It didn't go well for him. The other 2 invested. It went well for them. All right, point number 3, systems preserve wealth. Structure over chance. You've got to structure things. You've got to put systems in place. You've got to know where you're going. Wealth is not protected by income. It's protected by systems. Think about, and I'm not a CPA, and I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not a financial guru. I've learned a lot, but I am not here to tell you what to do with your money. I'm instructing you on being a better steward and making a ridiculous amount, creating a ridiculous amount of wealth. So if we talk about that, we would talk about things like having a trust, which I've put together 2 of those in my family generational wealth circle, umbrella. Let's put it falls under the umbrella of the McAfee family. Trust. Got to have good accounting. If you're running a small business, you have to have good accounting. Clean books. Books should balance to the penny. Books should be up to date. What's up to date mean? Well, when I ran my heating and air conditioning company, I expected to look at the financials from the month before by the 10th of each month, give or take a day. Financial oversight, clear structures, estate planning, Organization. Teaching children the value of money and how to handle it. That's very important, because as we talk about the third generation blowing all the money because they didn't get to see certain things, like the second generation saw the first generation work for it. Most of them started with zero. The third generation didn't get to see that. So every family member at a certain age should go through multiple classes on handling finances, understanding finances, how to balance a checkbook, even though there's not many people under 30 or 40 years old that even have a checkbook today. Wealth leaks when systems are weak. The wealth will leak out. It will be spent. It will be burnt up fast. Organization creates clarity. And structure removes emotion from the whole picture. Structure, good structure, removes emotion. Systems protect what discipline built. Families who lose wealth in 1 or 2 generations, because most wealth, this is statistical, most wealth is gone by the 3rd generation. Now, here's an old ancient Chinese proverb. It says this: wealth does not pass 3 generations. The first generation builds the wealth. The second generation is inspired to preserve the wealth by witnessing the hard work of their parents. And then the 3rd generation, having never witnessed, like I said, the work that went into creating the wealth, well, they squander it, burn it, fry it up. It's gone. 4th generation, they either have to start over or do something completely different because they know not of wealth. Very sad. The Vanderbilts is a great example, rather. The Vanderbilts were wealthier at one time than the Rockefellers, but the Vanderbilts didn't have a plan. Vanderbilts died. He left it to children, who left it to children. And they said in 1973, they had a family meeting, and there was not one millionaire left in the Vanderbilts. Not one millionaire left. The Rockefellers still have billionaires. The Rockefellers still have billions in their family bank. There was a plan. John D. Rockefeller had a plan from day one, which was passed on to the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th generation. How far do you want yours to go? Do you want your wealth to be burned up fast? I don't. I want it structured, and I want it to last, and I want it to be a tool to use and to continue to grow my philanthropy, giving throughout multiple, I don't know how many generations. I mean, an ideal situation would be 10 generations. Okay. Businesses that fail due to poor structure. It's our own fault. I mean, I often say, if we cause our own problems, we cause lack of structure. We didn't take the time. Maybe it was laziness. Maybe it was not understanding the importance of it. But it's very important. And people who avoid numbers typically end up losing control. And remember this: hope is not a financial strategy. Wrapping this up here, bringing it all together. Discipline builds it, values protect it, and systems preserve it. Wealth isn't about how much we make. It's about how we think, how we manage, how we prepare, and how we pass it on to future generations. Anyone can start today. You don't need more money to start. You need to get the money you have in order. You need more discipline. You need more direction. We all do. We all do. It's too easy to get comfortable. Make a little money, get comfortable. Some it takes less, some it takes more. But The certain amount of money makes everyone comfortable. We have to stay uncomfortable. We have to keep pushing, driving, putting systems in place, becoming more disciplined. Build wealth that outlives you, not wealth that outlives your discipline. Okay, I want to end with this. Wealth is built slowly, but can be lost quickly. All right, if you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe below. Right there. Click on that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, carry on. God bless. Make this day the best day of your life, because we're not promised tomorrow. I'll see you next time.